Boxing Asylum listeners, here we are with another interview with trainer of both Huey and Tyson Fury, Peter Fury. Thanks for taking the time with us. This is a tumultuous time for you guys with Haye pulling out of the fight, Tyson saying he wants to retire from the sport. Where are you at right now with this whole thing and what it's done to camp?
Well, obviously it's not a nice thing what David Haye's camp has done. But, look, life goes on. You got to expect these type of things to happen. You can't predict what other people's going to do and what the motives are. So you just move on. Nothing phases me, to be honest. I've gone through a lot in my life, and you just move on with it. Look, David Haye and his camp, and I'll reiterate what I said, they're an embarrassment to boxing. To deliberately come out of these with these false, stupid, so-called cuts, so-called lying in hospital beds. We've been told by people in their camp he doesn't want to fight. He was with some mates of mine on a boat in Dubai. He asked him a direct question. He said, I'm not fighting Tyson Fury. This is before he had the bloody injury. So we know very well it's all a gimmick for the public to get out of it. Nobody will speak up because the Boxing Board of Control's ass, they're up Sky's ass 10 Mile, wherever. I don't give a fuck. I tell it as it is. These are no good for boxing. Boxing needs bringing back to its roots, where fighting men fight and forget the bollocks outside of it and what goes on, scratching each other's back. At the end of the day, he didn't want to fight Tyson because he would have got annihilated. And the bottom line is, he's just a pretty boy. He just wants to get a title fight. He could not afford to lose to Tyson. Where's he going after Tyson beats him? Vitaly Klitschko clicks his fingers, 2 weeks before he's got the cut. I'm going to make one fight. I'm going to come back for one fight, and I'd like that to be David Haye. Lo and behold, he gets a straight line, razor blade cut over the top of his eye. Then the contracts go to be signed again. We asked them to put a clause in there to say, if any fighter backs out, to pay the costs. They wouldn't even sign that. So the writing was on the wall. And I always said to Tyson, I said to Mick Hennessy, this fight isn't going to happen. But, this is what's happened behind the scenes. So the public need to know exactly what the script is. They're totally out of order because they've wasted a year of our time, got Tyson dropped out the rankings, pretended they was going to fight when all along he wasn't. But I believe at the start they was going to fight. And I think when they got the phone call from Vitaly Klitschko, that put the nail in the coffin, and it's all gone sour from then.
Now, let me ask you this, Peter. Do you expect fully that within the first 3 months of 2014 that we are going to hear that David Haye is signed to fight Vitaly Klitschko and his shoulder's been given the go-ahead by the doctors?
Well, it's like this. They've got to be very careful now because the way we've put it out. Obviously, I'm a big spanner in their works. They have to be careful because they can't just go out and announce it. So expect Vitaly to announce some load of crap. There'll be something in there. But ultimately, will David Haye fight again? Will it be for a world title or possibly? Yes. Not unless the Klitschkos lead him on and then dump him like he done to them, like he does to a lot of people. So he might get backstabbed himself. So when you're dealing in treacherous waters, it comes back to you. So God only knows what's going to happen with him. But definitely, they've sidelined us because they think they've got a world title, probably with Vitaly Klitschko.
Salamy's doing a commentary. Saturday night.
Kurt and Andy, I know that you guys have a couple of questions too, and probably even more now.
Peter, how's Tyson's mental attitude at the minute? I mean, last night he was on Twitter posting pictures of alcohol. I don't know if it's just a gimmick or what, but what is his current state of mind just now?
Well, Tyson is, he is dejected to say the least. He's come out of the rankings. He knows he's been conned, and the thing is, he's only 25. Are you there?
Yeah, it went a bit
funny. Yeah, we got
Hello?
you broke up. You
broke
broke up for a minute, but you're back, Peter.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So it's a lot for a young man to take. So I think what he means is, unless he can get a meaningful fight, if this is the boxing and the politics behind the boxing at world level, then he wants to hang his gloves up. That's basically what he's saying. But it's up to me to clean the shit off his shoe. because that's all what this is. It's shit on the end of your shoe. You know, when you lie in bed with fleas, you can catch fleas, as simple as that. But, you know, we live and learn. You know, so we're not against that they've done it to. They've done it to the Klitschko's time and time again. They've done it to Manuel Cha. There was in contract. I'll give you an instance now. There was in contract with Manuel Cha. They rings me up wanting to fight Tyson. I said, Tyson will fight anybody if the price is right. Well, we're very interested. Then another conversation. I said, you're already contracted to fight with Manuel Cha. Yeah, we can get out of that because we'll just do David A an injury and it gets him out of the contract. So this is why he's having injury after injury after injury, because in all boxing contracts, when you have an injury, your contract's void. So it's very easy for that clown to lie in hospital beds, yeah, with paid doctors in Germany. And Germany, for Christ's sake, to go and fix your shoulder. Come on.
Peter, I remember the IBF have dropped Tyson out of the rankings altogether. What else? Obviously, WBA, WBC. How with this recent shenanigans going on and the delayed fight the first time, how much has it affected his ranking with the other three bodies?
Well, it may have affected his ranking, but he's not done Tyson any harm, to be honest, because, you know, the benefits from this, his profile's gone up, and he is the heavyweight on everybody's lips. He's the heavyweight to beat, so he hasn't done himself any harm whatsoever. And one fight to put him right up there. He's one fight away, Tyson, from a world title shot. You know, so hopefully we can get him a meaningful fight that he's happy with, and he can come back in training and, you know, get his act back together. But, like I said, I've sent him home to have Christmas with his wife and his children and just relax and relax outside of boxing and just chill out and enjoy himself.
Peter, you've always been very open about the fact that, you know, you didn't really think, or you wouldn't be very surprised if Haye pulled out again. I think a lot of people thought, mate, it was just conspiracy theories. When did you first hear that, you know, Haye had contacted his shoulder injury?
Well, look, you know, I don't think they realise, but they must think that, you know, we're behind the door. You know, I know people all over the world, and I know people in high up places as well. And the thing is, you know, I obviously know a lot more people than they think, and things get back to me. But at the end of the day, you know, look, you've only got to look at it. You know, does he really need Tyson Fury? You know, they watched Tyson on the Cunningham fight, and then Tyson in that fight would have been tailor-made for David A, because he'd come in walking forward in a straight line, you know, swapping punches. That's ideal for David A. But when they've gone into camp, they've realised this is going to be a bit different than what we think. He's 6'9". They've looked at him in the presser, you know, and things look a little bit different. And they'll have heard rumours coming out the training camp, you know, this kid's not going to box like he done with Cunningham. It's a whole more different matter. So they've weighed up the odds, had a better offer from the Klitschko, or a promise of a better offer, and they've come out of this fight. But look, nobody's going to get themselves cut. Nobody's going to go through all of this if there's not something substantial at the back of it. And the only thing it can be is either a big insurance claim or a world title fight, because he always wanted Vitaly Klitschko. So if he's got the offer of Vitaly, why does he have to go through Tyson and take a risk if he can go straight to Vitaly? Where when they first signed for the fight, there was no Vitaly. But lo and behold, guess what? Vitaly's appeared. So now we must bend over like a prostitute and do whatever Vitaly wants so as we can get this fight.
And according to rumours as well, there was mention that Haye's going to be at the Groves-Froch fight, whether he's doing an analysis or something. I mean, do you expect them to give him much of a grilling at all, or just let him off the hook?
Yeah, listen, you know, the boxing public as a whole, I don't really know. But he's got a good fan base. You know, look, good luck to the fella if he can get away with it. Look, if you can shit on your doorstep and get away with it, then good luck to you.
Mate. No more. I don't think he's going to get away with it anymore.
Well, believe me...
Sorry to interrupt there, but we counted it the other week, on Sunday, we counted at least 7 pull-outs this guy's had in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, not only 7 pull-outs, you know, they've admitted to us what they do. I'm going to injure my hand, having a joke about it on the telly. He's got a bandage on his hand with Manuel Cha. You know, we know what they do. But obviously the public still think he's a genuine person, sympathising with him and all of that. It's not genuine. It's a farce. and it's farcical for boxing. I don't need to prove it. We know the facts. So they can go on and con the public as much as they want. At the end of the day, he's backed out of a legitimate fight with Tyson. And, you know, if he'd have looked up and said to us, look, Peter, we've had an offer here. We need to sideline this. Can we sit down with you? Can we give you some money? Can we promise you another fight or whatever? And negotiate it with us? That would have been another matter. We wouldn't have been having these conversations. But to go and run all around the houses and do these stupid antics, that's another matter entirely. Because to me, when you do that, you're not a man of any substance at all.
Peter, have you had any contact with Haye? Have they, apologised at all for this? Anyone from the team?
No, they haven't phoned. And to be fair to them as well, they're not going to phone me because they know what response they get. Just be told to fuck off.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, that's it. And, look, we're from the street. When you have a fight, you have a fight. When we was young men, we'd go out in the car park and have a fight till we were dead nearly. At the end of the day, it's pride involved. When you take a fight, you honour it. We don't sign a contract and then all of a sudden look for a better deal with somebody else. What we say is, once we get this fight over, we'll look to the next one. Call us back then. But obviously with these, they're signing up, and it doesn't mean anything. They'll do whatever they can. They're a law into themselves, these, and they've been getting away with it for years.
And Peter, since that's, we're just throwing Haye to the wayside, there have been some rumblings that Hennessy is trying to put together a fight with Deontay Wilder. Is that something that you're very interested in?
Well, yeah, Deontay Wilder, a lot of people's got comments, but Deontay Wilder's a dangerous fighter. He's 30-0, and no matter what people say, he hasn't fought anybody, which to a degree he hasn't. But he's dangerous, There's one thing this guy can do. If he connects with that right hand, he's rightfully named Bomb Squad, because there's no getting up. When he hits people, they go to sleep. Now, he's got a lot of flaws there to be exposed. And it's a good fight, so it's a fight that we'd happily take. It's not a fight where you can say Wilder's going to get destroyed easy. Nobody can say that with somebody who's had 30 knockouts. He's dangerous. But it's a fight Tyson would gladly take. Now, the problems with this fight is selling it to the, pay-per-view, because ultimately they're the paymasters. And also, I'm being totally honest, Wilder's people, they're not silly. Tyson's a big risk for any heavyweight in the world. And for Deontay Wilder to step up to Tyson's level, he's taking a big risk. So both sides need the money, because whoever gets defeated is a way back down the ladder. So unless these can get paid properly, then the fight's not going to happen. Now, we had some stupid comments from Schaefer saying he's rang Mick Hennessy, had a conversation, and all of a sudden he thinks the phone in the UK has gone down because nobody's called him back, and he's putting 1 and 2 to make 50. Well, I mentioned it on Twitter today, and I'll say it again. If Schaefer's deadly serious, disregard calling Mick Hennessy. We're one unit, yeah? And Mick Hennessy, whatever he does, comes back to me and vice versa. We're a unit. And I'm saying now, if Deontay wants to fight and he wants to put it on Schaefer, yeah, he's offered David A $8 million, yeah? Offer us less. We'll take it. So, don't let, if he's got the money and Showtime can pay it, then let him put it on. We'll have it in Canada, we'll have it here, wherever they want it. Obviously not America, because I can't get in. So, Canada or wherever, But listen, we're straight talking people. We're not behind the door. But don't start throwing muggy challenges, saying people's afraid. Come on. We'll fight Wilder next. Right now, if the money's right for both fighters, and his trainer and manager Diaz, he speaks a lot of sense. Do they need it right now? Well, look, if the money's right for both fighters, let's get it on. Wilder wants to fight. Tyson wants to fight. And Schaefer's saying he's got the money, it's Golden Boy. So, come on, Golden Boy, whoever, put it on, and let's let him fight. I'm happy for him to fight in March next year.
Get the fight in Britain, Peter, because obviously they've had no problem coming over to fight Audley Harrison, so they should have no problem coming over to fight Tyson either.
Well, to be fair to Diaz, his trainer and manager, he's already said, he'd like to come over to England. It's not a problem for them. Good stuff. So there's no problem at all. So I'm just referring to Schaefer's marks that he's mentioned it to Mick Hennessy, and it's gone stone dead. We're trying to sell that fight, so we hope Schaefer's doing exactly the same, or he can pull up for it or whatever he wants to do.
And Peter, what's next on the plate for Hughie at this point?
Right. Well, yeah, Hughie's having a rest now till February because
he earned it.
He's been cut badly the way. I believe I had to see a specialist about his cut, Peter.
Yeah, what happened? A week before, 7 days before, he got cut in sparring. A right hand came across. It followed through the elbow, and it just cut him right under the eye, and it just slashed open. But it wasn't wide, but it was deep. So we went to the hospital and had it glued. And I said, look, will it hold? So, we took the fight anyway, because we hadn't seen anything of this opponent he took in his last fight. So when we got there, I said, look, just get behind the jab and protect the eye, I said, and just box. I said, and just keep from him, I said, because we got a bigger fight the week after. But when he went out in the first round, the guy was that boring, stood behind a long jab, very, very negative. I said, look, you're going to have to try and close him down. And with ruffling, and he never punched you. It wasn't a punch because it was already there. With the heads rubbing or whatever, anyway, it opened up. So after the third round, I said, look, don't let it go. It's an 8-round fight. I said, the referee could do anything with his eye. I said, start closing him down. I said, look, to get him out of there. So he did, and but he got a 28-day suspension because of the court. He had 3 stitches in it, and to be honest, it's healed perfectly. So, but even so, he had a wisdom tooth. He's had that seen too. So he's had one of them out. He's had 3 stitches in his gum. So he's had a few things done to repair himself, and he's having a good rest. So he's going to be back out in February, which will be live on Channel 5.
It's fantastic. He really earned a rest. I mean, talk about a great first year for a young man. It's really been impressive the way you guys have moved him along and kept him busy.
Yeah, he's 12-0 with 7 knockouts, and expect him to start where he left off in February, and make Hennessy fair dues to him. He's highlighting you next year on the Channel 5 shows. He's doing a lot of heavyweight contests, and he'll be on all of them shows. So I think he'll be on 6 to 8 of them shows. But expect Hughie to have 10 fights next year, which will put him to 22 fights.
Peter, what is the current situation with Tyson fighting on whichever TV channel? Will it be Channel 5?
Well, it's hard to say, to be honest. I know Channel 5's got an interest, but it'll be Channel 5, it could be pay-per-view, it could be on HBO, Showtime, it all depends who the opponent is and where the opponent is, etc., and who's willing to screen it.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Wilder fight because, that would just be shown to millions if it was promoted correctly. You could maybe 5-6 million viewers to watch that fight.
Well, exactly. I think it's a bigger fight than Haye, because you got 2 young heavyweights. One's 30-0 with 30 KOs. He's American, and it's America against a British-Irish fighter, and they're both big young men, aren't they? They've got a big future, so it's a crossroads for them. So it's a big fight.
Peter, what were your thoughts on the recent heavyweight fight between Klitschko and Povetkin?
Right, although that fight looked boring, which it was, it was like knocking paint down the wall. But I've got to say here that Vladimir, he's a perfectionist. He's a very, very clever, astute, seasoned, experienced, world-class heavyweight. He didn't get involved with Povetkin. He uses his height, he uses his weight, he uses every trick in the book to nullify the opponent. He just does enough. He's a very, very careful back foot fighter. And, he does enough to nullify what the other opponent's got. He studies them, he looks at them, and, you got to give him his dues. He's definitely not after impressing anyone. He just does what it takes to win. But although it was dull, he's a serious athlete. He belongs where he belongs. Nobody can criticise. Look how long he's been a world champion, how long he's been at the top. Povetkin, look what he's done with everybody he's fought. Vladimir, he made a joke of him, really.
And, Povetkin, he gave it a go, didn't he? He tried, but he just couldn't get past what Vlad dished out, I suppose.
Yeah, but what you've got Povetkin, who's a small heavyweight and got no brains. Because he's gone in there, hasn't he? And he's gone in with one thing, get stuck in. Well, I'm not being funny. That's why we've got workers, and that's why we've got brains working computers. Boxing, It's not about all brawn, is it? With no brains. You've got to get in there and have a game plan and adapt. You know, he just tried doing the same thing, going forward, throwing his shot. He wasn't even trying to do anything new. So, what chance does he think he's going to have against somebody like Vladimir, who's all brains and got the physical attributes to go with it?
And are you surprised by seeing, you know, someone like Povetkin, who's got a lot of experience as well in the amateurs and pros, that he was constantly getting clinched, but he never tried to do anything about it. He just kept getting clinched and seemed to be happy to let Vladimir do that?
Well, it depends how they're educated. It's down to the trainer. You know, he's hitting pads, he's hitting the bag, he's having spars, and it's all new to him. You know, he's not thinking of all the negative sides. What will Vladimir do? What happens if he grabs me? They don't look at the worst. They're always looking at a plus, plus, plus. Well, it's gone bad for him, hasn't it? So he had no answers to Vladimir. It was an easy win. And, you know, I'll tell you what I was impressed with. That hook off the jab. It took his legs right away.
Cut out, Peter.
Can you hear me?
You cut out there when you were talking about something. I don't know who you were talking about, but you certainly cut out for a bit.
Yeah, I was saying that I was very impressed with Vladimir in the second round, I think, where he gave him a hook off the jab, and he took his legs away.
I'll tell you what it is, mate, we've become kind of good pals with Don Charles and that, and I know for a fact he was pulling for Tyson against David Haye. Just going on to Derek Chisora, have you seen any major improvements in Derek's game? Obviously he's come down in weight and stuff like that slightly, but have you seen improvements since the Haye defeat?
Well, yeah, I have, you know. It's like this, you know, I'm not going to blow smoke up anybody's ass. I can only say what I feel. I think Don Charles is a good trainer. You know, he looked, and he's brought Chisora on leaps and bounds. But with David A, you know, it wasn't the Chisora what he's capable of. It's the same Chisora who boxed Tyson that boxed David A. You know, he come in, 18 plus stone, throwed no jab, and just walked forward. You know, are you going to beat a world-class fighter without throwing a jab? So, you know, it was only a matter of time. You know, he just got beat to the punch every time, and you know, that was it. He got stopped. But since then, you know, he has come on. You know, we saw a very good display against Vitaly Klitschko. He was in shape. He fought a good 12 rounds at a hell of a pace. Vitaly could barely stand up at the end of it. You know, it took him all his time to keep him under control. Although he got outboxed comfortably, he still put him under a hell of a lot of pressure. So there's room for improvement with Chisora, and he is improving. He's making a very good fighter. I think Frank Warren's won the purse bids, has he not, for David Price?
That's for the British, that's for the Commonwealth title, is it not, eh?
Yeah, I think it's a big mistake for David Price to take Chisora. I think it's too early, and Chisora will walk through Price. So that's another thing. No disrespect to Price, I think he's a nice fella, and he's got a future if he's looked after properly, and he's not used as some scapegoat or a guinea pig for something else, for some bigger fish, then he should be okay, but he's got to be very careful what he does with his career and use his own head rather than trusting other people.
I think Price might even vacate that title because he's signed with Sorlin Promotions, so I wouldn't really think that fight might happen actually.
I think it's better off not, you know, because if Price wants to build his career, the last thing he needs is Derek Chisora in his face, because he'll come unstuck at this stage. Because no matter how much you trained in the gym, when you've had shock defeats back to back like that, he needs building up from the starting blocks, does David Price. He's got to get in there, get the confidence back, realise his new things in the gym and working in the ring, and it's a slow process building back up. It's not an overnight thing. And Derek Chisora is getting back to world level. You know, he's not in a start position, is he?
Peter, did you see Kubrat Pulev's fight with Tony Thompson?
Very impressed again. You know, I liked it. You know, Pulev has always looked a little bit flat and boring to me, you know, on the back foot, you know, just does enough, but he's very effective and does what he has to do. You know, he's tough, he's got a solid chin. You know, he beat, I was impressed with the Thompson fight, he beat him convincingly.
The only thing there is, Peter, is I believe, although he's #1 contender for the IBF, I don't think he's going to take the Klitschko fight next. I think he's looking to kind of sit back for, maybe take one more payday before taking that fight.
Right, well, whatever he decides, good luck to him.
The other fight, obviously, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, was Mike Perez against Abdul Salamov, Peter. Obviously, what happened afterwards was tragic. What do you think about Perez? Do you think he's going to be some sort of force in the world scene?
Yeah, I was hugely impressed. You know, I watched that fight all the way through. You know, I was impressed the way he come out against the puncher. He just come out and he was all over him. You know, he didn't take a back step, didn't try and miss his shots. He just used his boxing skill, closed him down. You know, he executed it perfectly, didn't he? So, very impressed with Perez with that fight. He showed some real skill, you know, a good chin, and he just, he brought it to him, and it was a good fight. And you could see the pace he was setting. And when the other fellow was missing, the Russian fellow, he was fighting out of his rhythm. He was forcing his work where the other one was comfortable. And that's the difference. You know, he took a hell of a lot of shots. And all the other guy was doing, he was a big lump coming forward and trying to throw some meaty shots. Because he's had 18 KOs. But you know, this is a fine example here. It shows you that boxing is a skill. No matter how hard you can punch, when you step on a world level, skill will overcome power all day long. And that's a prime example of what happened there.
Pete, I think the last time we spoke to you, it was about a month before the Mayweather-Canelo fight. How impressed were you by Floyd, his performance?
Well, again, you know, I'm ultimately impressed because I had Canelo, it was a 50-50. And I favoured Canelo, to be honest. He was young, the way he boxed Trout. You know, he was at the top of his game. And, you know, Mayweather gets in there and makes him look ordinary, which shows you world elite fighters. So, on that performance, Mayweather deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And he will go down as one of the best fighters of all time because he deserves it, because he's earned it, he's won it. And, you know, even people who's not a fan need to be a fan because boxing purists need to understand Mayweather's the real deal. And there's nobody out there going to beat that fella.
Peter, see, obviously his career it hasn't ended yet, but obviously you said Floyd will go down as an all-time great.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but how high do you think he'll probably end up?
How high in what regard?
Basically, you know, like top 10, top 5 all time?
Yeah, he's going to be in at least the top 10. You know, I'm never going to say he's better than all the all-time greats because they was the best in their era. Boxing evolves like life evolves. So, he's the best pound-for-pound fighter. He's definitely number one in his era, that guy. You know, for such a, you know, in his weight class as well. You know, so pound for pound, he's number one. He deserves the ranking as well.
On Sunday there was quite a, well, I wouldn't say a big fallout, but Andre Ward again returns to action after 14 months and kind of basically dominates Edwin Rodriguez, but many boxing fans, well, probably I wouldn't call them purists because they tend to think he's boring. Did you say he's boring, or did you say that he's technically too good and probably will be like Floyd, that he'll just retire undefeated at some point?
Yeah, again, he's not boring to me. I'm a big fan of Andre Ward. The boxing skill is immense, world class, different leagues to any other fighter. Again, deserves to be up there, pound for pound again. You know, full respect to these people. They don't get the rewards they deserve. It's not about going in there, knocking somebody's head off. When you get in front of them and you can't do anything at all, you know, the better the fighters they get in front of them, the better they look. You know, it's just, they've got a gift, haven't they? You know, Andre Ward, he belongs up there. I mean, you've seen what he done with Froch. You know, Froch was so frustrated afterwards, he's there in the 12th round, almost like somebody stole his money and he doesn't know where his watch has gone. You know, so it shows you the sheer class of Andre Ward. And he is.
Peter, speaking of Froch, we've got the big fight between him and George Groves on Saturday, and we spoke to Don Charles, and he's actually predicting not only Groves to win, but to win by stoppage. What's your opinion on the fight?
Well, Don Charles might know more than me, but I doubt it, to be honest. I think I like Groves. I think he's got a great career ahead of him. I like the way he boxes, the way he uses his jab, and he's really come on. He's definitely a young prospect for the future. He's got nothing to lose in this fight, only a win-win-win. You know, even if he comes unstuck, he will only get better, Groves, and he is getting better all the time. Froch is at his peak. We've seen the best Froch we're ever going to see. I don't believe Froch is over the hill because he looks after himself. His body is a temple. You know, that fella looks after himself exemplary. So I just see it as the experience. He's using the jab more. And I think when it comes down to it in the trenches, Froch has been there. He's seen a lot more than Groves. So on the basis of that, I've got to go 60-40 Froch. Just sheerly on experience though, but Groves has just got just as much talent, if not more. But just on the case of where they're at now in the careers, I've got to pick Froch. It could be a late stoppage, could be he could catch him, I don't know, or but I think he could catch up with him. But then again, he could get his 2 ears boxed off him because Groves has got an excellent jab and he's got great footwork and he's young. So he's got, like I said, it's not a foregone conclusion for Froch, but I do see it 60-40 in Froch's favour, only because of the experience and been there at all them levels and knows what it's like to dig deep, where the other one, he's only been past, at best, British level, hasn't he, really?
Another British fighter who's got a world title fight soon is Tony Bellew as he travels to Canada to face Adonis Stevenson. Do you give him much of a chance of grabbing the title over there?
You know, he's got a chance, you know. You've got to give Tony Bellew full credit again. You know, he's going over there in his backyard. He's fighting an awesome contender. I watched Adonis Stevenson fight...
Cloud.
Not McLeod, somebody before that.
Oh, Chad Dawson.
Nope, one before that.
Donovan George.
No, he's got a funny name.
Darnell Boone?
Boone.
Yeah.
Darnell Boone. I was watching the punches go from ringside, and Darnell Boone got both of his eye sockets smashed in. I've never seen anything like it. His 2 eyes was bleeding, and he was taking some hammer. So, again, Bellew's got to be very good on the boxing, good footwork. I don't know, you've got to pick Adonis to be the favourite in it, because what I've seen of Adonis Stevenson, he can bang and he can box. So he's got to come looking for Bellew. But listen, Bellew's a world-class talent himself, so again, I think it's 60-40. But I'd like to see Bellew do it, obviously. And I hope he does.
Peter, about a personal question, are you a betting man?
No.
No. I was just going. The reason I'm asking is because I was doing some checking on the bookies website, just looking at the Froch odds, and I noticed there's a special bet on Haye to become world heavyweight champion, to be the youngest at 20-1. So I don't know if you fancy a wee flutter on it.
Yeah, why not? I'll go and put a grand on my son. I'll look a right dick if I say I'm not taking the bet, wouldn't I?
Peter, is there any other fights you're looking forward to coming up? Obviously, we're coming to the quiet part of the year, but you've got Broner coming up against Maidana. I'm actually looking forward to that fight. I don't know if you, what your opinions are on that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all fights. You know, I'm a boxing nut myself, and
yeah. I don't think Broner can actually stand there, like, you know, basically stand flat-footed. I think he's actually got to move, and because I don't think he wants to stand in the pocket there with Maidana.
The quality of Broner's shots, though, is exceptional, aren't they? He's a very good talent. You know, I watched him against Paul Malignaggi, and you know, the clean shots he was hitting with, and he wasn't flustered. And although Malignaggi was throwing combinations and throwing more, the quality was definitely coming from the other one. So, again, he's a world-class athlete, isn't he? And he's going to do big things in the sport.
Did you think Broner won that fight? Cause I know some actually felt that it was closer than what some of the cards were and stuff. I thought Broner won it pretty comfortably, but some said, some actually make an argument that Paulie won that fight.
Well, it's what you want. Do you want quantity over quality? Quantity came from Malignaggi, quality came from Broner. Me, myself, I like quality. So I'd have to give it Broner.
Yeah, Malignaggi was doing he like a pity-patty shots. He didn't really do anything that caught your eye. All the eye-catching shots and the best work was coming from Broner, wasn't it, in the fight?
Yeah, I was very impressed with Malignaggi, to be fair. He went the full distance, and the bravery of him was second to none. You know, so fair due to him. He made a good fight of it. But there's only one winner, in my opinion.
Peter, Manny Pacquiao is also returning on Saturday or Sunday morning from China. He's had nearly a year out after being knocked unconscious. How do you think he's going to react to having his first fight back after being knocked out so brutally?
Well, he's up against Rios, and I think he's going to go for it. So he's definitely going to go for it. So he's got it all to do, Pacquiao, and he's a better boxer, Pacquiao. So we have to see how it goes. But it's a 50-50 fight. This is not. I wouldn't favour Pacquiao in it. I think it's a genuine 50-50 fight. And the other one knows he's been knocked out, and Rios, he'll be going for the kill from round 1. So it's going to be interesting. So Pacquiao's got to be. We'll have to see the best Pacquiao ever, I think. So I'm going to edge towards Rios.
It's going to be interesting to see how Pacquiao reacts to taking a big shot, because he's also always been known as, having a good chin and being durable, but since that knockout, you just don't know how he's going to react from a big shot.
Yeah, exactly. So he's had a very bad knockout, so it's going to take something to come back. So it's going to be interesting again.
And have you seen much?
Not an easy fight.
Have you seen much of the melee that happened between Freddie Roach and Alex Ariza in China recently?
I seen a YouTube clip of it. What was it over? What did it start over?
Apparently, Roach or Pacquiao was to start training in the gym at 11 a.m. Garcia then started doing an interview in the gym at 11 a.m. and it was apparently already agreed that they would vacate. Roach had come in and basically says, it's your time to move. Some unpleasantries were said. Then I think Ariza, he went towards Ariza. Ariza then kicked at him. They started mocking him because he's Parkinson's disease, and some things were said, you this and the Mexican that and whatever. So it just kind of went slightly escalated.
There's a lot of history there as well. Ariza was fired, wasn't he, from Pacquiao's camp, and Garcia and Rios a couple of years ago were mocking Roach, caught on camera mocking Roach's illness. So I think it's built up a bit of tension.
Well, I've got to say, that Roach, he has got an illness. And, people should take that into consideration. It's like respecting your elders. When people's got illnesses like that, you don't start rearing up and taking kicks at them. So, I don't think it's right, to be honest. I think they should have took it in a stride and just let Freddie Roach carry on and just ignored him. It's like me walking across the road and an old man giving me cheek. I'm just going to look at him and say, okay, so calm down, thank you very much, and walk on. I'm not going to take him serious. He's an old man.
Just talking about reactions, Peter, I don't know if you watched Rigondeaux against Donaire, but Donaire recently returned, I would probably say a kind of lacklustre performance against Vic Darchinyan. Did you get a chance to see that fight?
I seen the Donaire one, and is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, Donaire against Darchinyan, the rematch. It just happened 2 weeks ago. It was on the Mikey Garcia in the card.
I seen the Rigondeaux versus Donaire.
Right. I actually personally think maybe Rigo has maybe just stolen his heart slightly, because I didn't see much of an improvement or that same snap to Donaire's work against Darchinyan.
Yeah, maybe so. I was very impressed with Donaire, but as soon as that Rigondeaux got to him, just unbelievable, isn't it? You learn things every day with boxing, and it's unbelievable. Them Cubans, there's just something about them, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
But then again, I watched the Junior World Championships when my son was over there, and I watched the Cubans, and there was one or two good ones, but out of all the team, there was only about one or maybe two, if that, got medals.
Is it just going into amateurs, Peter? I don't know if you got a chance to see the Worlds, but the Kazakhstanis seem to be producing some good fighters at the minute. Obviously you got Golovkin there as well, who's topping up the middleweight division, but you've got some good amateurs coming through there as well.
Yeah, them Kazakhstanis are tough. I think my son boxed one. He's about 18.5 stone, a big heavyweight. He was. They are good, aren't they? They're tough, them Kazakhstanis. They can box as well. I've seen some very good lighter weights as well. While I was there.
There was about 5 gold medals, I think, they won actually in that World Championships. So they're definitely on the up and up. What about Vasily Lomachenko? Did you see his debut? Or it wasn't really his debut, I suppose, if you want to be panicky about it. But you think this kid's going to be the real deal in the pros?
Yeah, I've heard of him. He's ready to fight for a world title in his second pro fight.
Orlando Salido next, hopefully, yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. Again, it's just unbelievable, isn't it?
And speaking of amateurs, one recently who's turned pro, he's at the heavyweight, he's Anthony Joshua. What have you made of his career so far? Earlier,
I think Anthony Joshua, he's got a very good amateur pedigree. He's got a turn to be professional. I wouldn't get carried away with him. He's got to learn his job. He's got to learn his trade. And the thing is he's doing well for where he's at. You know, he's still an amateur. He's got a lot to learn. He's throwing his shots a little bit too quick. But it's all going to come. It's all going to fit together like a jigsaw. This is heavyweight boxing. He's got a massive future and he's good. But, you know, it'd be wrong for me to start picking holes in him when he's only had 3 fights, you know. So he's got a lot to learn. Same as my son. He's had 12 fights. He's got a hell of a lot to learn. He's a baby. He's just started. And Joshua's the same. You know, what they've got to be careful of, they don't need to overhype him and push him up. And let me tell you, he needs rounds, that kid. He's a big lad. He can bang. But he needs rounds because, look, you've seen what's happened to David Price. He needs rounds. That's the only way we're going to have a world champion. We're not going to have a world champion, another Frank Bruno, where they're knocking everybody over. You know, and when they come up against world champions who can box, they'll have a problem. So Joshua needs to box. He's got a massive future, that kid, and he can go all the way. And, you know, they know what they're doing, the trainers. They're doing him right already, but he's got a promising future. He's certainly going to get on a world level. Whether he wins a world title, who knows? He's good enough.
You say something about Luke Campbell, Peter. Just, you know, more rounds, and I mean, that last opponent actually gave him a good workout, so to speak. I remember him fighting David Brophy up in Scotland a few months back. So the kid was tough and durable. Is that the type of opponent you're thinking the likes of your Joshua basically needs?
Luke Campbell was good, but I've seen again very amateurish. And this is not to be criticising. Luke Campbell's very good, world class ability again. But he jumps up and down a lot on the ring rather than step and smooth. And, you know, as he's stepping, rolling into his shots. You know, so I see a lot of gold medal amateur stuff, to be honest. So he needs to, but again, it's early days. He's got to get into the pros, but promising again. But, you know, they've got to get rid of that amateur style. Him and Joshua. Even my son's the same, you know, they've got to develop into the pro game.
And I think, you know, with Joshua being on Sky, they do create an awful lot of hype, and to me it seems they don't care about him going rounds. They just want him to knock guys out to make, a bit like Deontay Wilder in America. It creates more hype, doesn't it? But the actual fighter, is he actually learning that much?
Well, you know, it's just like anything else. It's always good, you know, if they can get in there, stop the opponent, it looks good, and it builds a PR. But at the end of the day, ultimately, styles make fights. You know, you've seen it time and time again. You know, over the years, you know, you've got to not neglect your boxing skills. And, you know, this is the thing. So, but look, they know what they're doing. It's like me with my son. You know, we're building him up, and I'm very happy with where he's going. He's boxing fantastic. He's not relying on the power, and you know, power's going to come later on when he develops anyway. But at least he's getting around in. So he's had a year of good experience. And I hope he has 8 or 10 rounders and he gets the distance, you know, because that's what I'm after. Because when it does come to when it matters, that's when he can deal with it. When he gets put under pressure, hit back, and all of this is what we've got to see. And this is the type of fights Huey's going to be having next year. Because I want people to hit him back. And, you know, I want him in 50-50 fights where he's got to gain that experience. And that's what he needs. And that's what all heavyweights need. Because there's no point hitting the target and not being hit back yourself, because sooner or later make very sure you're going to get hit.
Peter, we're conscious of the fact we've took up a fair bit of your time, but just briefly, did you get a chance to see Gennady Golovkin's last fight against Curtis Stevens?
Yeah, I did. Very impressed.
They're impressed. I mean, some people were obviously wondering, you know, how good's his chin. I mean, I thought it got checked a few times with the left hook of Stevens, and Stevens is a noted banger. So do you think basically, you know, all the boxes have been ticked really? That, you know, he's got the power, he's got the chin, he's got the stamina, he's got the skills. Maybe slightly leak it in defence. Would you probably say he's maybe the real deal in the full package?
Yeah, you know, I was very impressed because he wasn't relying on all of his power. I liked the way he backed off, and he was taking the other Stevens apart gradually over the rounds, waiting and biding his time. He was stalking him. And, you know, he wasn't loading up with every shot. He was boxing him. You know, and he let Stevens come back. You know, he wasn't eager, just working on the power. You know, this guy's got a boxing brain. You know, he's pacing himself and doing everything right. But you can see the quality in Golovkin because look what he done with Macklin.
Yeah,
Macklin Macklin can fight. You know, look what he done with him. You know, he is the real package again, and Golovkin's only going to get better.
Peter, were you surprised by the loss of Nathan Cleverly against Sergei Kovalev, and what do you make of his move from light heavyweight to cruiserweight, which is a big jump in weight?
Well, firstly, I was shocked with that fight what he had, because it was just totally the wrong tactics. Couldn't understand it. As soon as the first bell went, you're in with a devastating puncher, and what do you
right
do?
in front of him.
You hold your feet. You hold your feet and want to trade with him.
No jab.
So, come on, you don't do that. You know, you turn him, you give him angles for Christ's sake. You know, so, you know, he was almost stood there, rabbit in headlights, guaranteed that what was going to happen. I said from the first bell, as soon as it happened, I said, Cleverly's coming unstuck here. I said, this is suicide. So, wrong tactics entirely. So, that's my opinion of that fight. He threw away his championship. But, Nathan Cleverly is talented. You know, he's a lovely kid. I've met him, and he belongs right up there. I think the cruiserweight's a good thing for him because obviously he was struggling making weight, and I think he can do big things because Nathan Cleverly is a big lad. So, but I do feel if he'd have used his boxing, which he can do, got on his feet, took him into 7-8 rounds, I think the fight would have been easy for him. I think he made sheerly hard work of it and stood there to be hit. So he gave away his championship, in my opinion.
I know sparring, Peter, but Don Charles was telling us that Nathan Cleverly has been the only person he's seen that's been able to pin Derek Chisora on the back foot for a majority of a sparring session or a fight or whatever. So maybe it speaks testament as to how good he maybe is.
Yeah, he's very good, and I like what John Charles said about David Haye the other day when he said he sideswiped me and he's a mug.
Yeah, did
he
you
told
listen
us
to that interview?
that,
Yeah, he told us that. Yeah, it was that interview he told us that.
I did.
Yeah,
I wouldn't like an argument with Don Charles. Don Charles is a bigger threat than Chisora, I think.
we said to him, I mean, if you remember the footage back in Munich, I mean, David Haye with no gloves on, you know, a world-class heavyweight, he caught him with some clean punches, and, you know, Don was still there fighting, and, you know, that, we said, you know, you got a granite chin.
Yeah, because when somebody sideswipes you from the side, they don't deserve good luck, do they? So
No.
straight away, Don Charles is in the right.
Yeah.
So the man was only trying to stop it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that was a issue. He was saying that I don't know if he actually broke his jaw. I don't know if David Haye was talking bullshit as he usually does, but I know he had a few stitches in his mouth and stuff like that, and you could actually hear from Don that he was, you know, he wants a rematch basically. You know, I would actually take money to go and watch that. I think he'd be taking no problem. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if you actually heard the full interview with him, Peter, but you know, I think he's kind of the same opinion. Although he wouldn't say he's a gentleman, but the guy is a mug. Well, he say that he's a mug, but you know, David Haye, I've said it before as well. He is going to go down as probably Britain's biggest waste of talent ever, probably in my opinion.
Well, you know, who are we on about now? David Haye?
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's achieved a good bit already. He's a talented fighter, you know, and he's done well for himself. And as a person, like I said, I wouldn't wish him any harm. I believe in the blessed Lord at the end of the day. You know, I shook the fella's hand. Seems a very nice man. And but the business tactics, you know, whoever's advising him or whatever, that camp, you know, that's another matter entirely. But on a personal view, I don't wish him any harm. Don't wish him any bad success. I wish him all the best. I just think it's a very, very sad state of affairs. The level they'll drop to jump in and out of contracts when they feel like it. And I'll tell you what else as well. You know, when you're a believer in the blessed Lord and you're a righteous person, you care what the other people thinks. You know, it's not all about being self, me. You know, you've got to give some gratitude to the other person. He's just like you, working his balls off in the gym and trying to win a fight. You know, he's got kids to feed and everything else. It's a living. And to just abuse people like that to just help yourself, you know, they're not righteous people at all in any regard. And, you know, I've got no respect for people like that, to be honest. And they definitely don't belong in boxing, because boxing is a noble art. We go back hundreds of years with it. Respect your elders, go into boxing with your chin up and try your best. You know, don't do what these do, manipulate with contracts, take ill to get out of contracts, photographs on hospital beds. You know, it's a complete shambles, to be honest.
And, Joe Public just believes it. And some boxing, purist, they'll put inputs into it. Oh, David A. this, David A. that. They haven't got a clue. They don't know what we know behind the scenes. How can any boxing analyst quote, oh, look, David A's had a genuine cut? Well, if I walk out the door in the morning out of my house, put a cast on my leg and say I broke it last night, everybody's going to believe me on it. But really, I'm laughing my cock off, aren't I? And I'm saying, I've just put the fucking cast on, for Christ's sake. These are idiots.
And the thing is, I said it on our forum last week when I saw the picture. It looked like a scene from a movie or something. The way he was lying in that hospital bed, it just
Coronation Street or something like that.
It just looked unrealistic, didn't it? It looked like he'd been run over or something.
Listen, well, we know it could have been a veterinary surgery.
Or he could have went into Pinewood Studios in London and actually had it set up for him.
Look, a few weeks before, he's been over there chatting with Bontin. He's been in Germany quite a bit. He hasn't declared his shoulder injury to none of us. He's under contract for a serious fight, multi-millions. People spent fortunes, hotels. There's been resales on the tickets, and God only knows where that money's gone. People's had put money in their pockets, left, right, and centre with this. God only knows what's gone on. And at the end of the day, he haven't even got the principles to let people know he's got an injury. Oh, hang on a minute. I've had a scan. It's come up, and I've got to have it straight away. Bollocks. That don't happen, does it?
And the thing is, Sky Sports were running with the news that, he's been advised to retire, but nowhere in the actual quotes did they say any doctor had told him to retire. It's just that Haye himself has said, maybe my body's giving up on me. So, and I don't think any of us are going to be surprised when he comes back, because how many times has he said he's going to retire now? He's made a mockery of the whole thing, to be honest.
I wish someone with access could actually ask him, what hospital did you go to and what was the doctor's name that actually did the operation? Just cut through the bullshit and get to the truth.
I mean, if you remember when he first was signed to fight Klitschko in 2009, was it, when he was with Satanta? 2 weeks after Satanta went bust and basically he lost a lot of his payday, he had a back injury, didn't he? So
yeah,
it's and then like you said with Manuel Char and obviously with Tyson now twice, he's had more withdrawals than knockouts since he moved up to heavyweight. So.
Well, look, it's, I'm not going to criticise his achievements. He's won at cruiserweight, he's got up there, and he's done his job. But like I said, in recent events, in recent years, it's all about business. It's not about standing onto agreements, and how much money does he want to make? I think he was standing to make $5 million from this fight with Tyson. It was a sellout. There was over £2 million in the arena. It was a pay-per-view, expecting up to a million hits. So, at 15 quid a shot, how much money does he want to make?
And that's the thing as well. For British boxing, it was a massive event, and it would have been a great, night. That when it was cancelled and put to February, we saw the Groves Froch fight. How that's got people interested in two big heavyweights. Obviously, a heavyweight fight is our biggest domestic fight that can be made, really. So it just would have been a huge event, and that's why everyone's so disappointed with him.
Well, look, we've got a lot of people in boxing, they're all in like a little clique. Sky Sports News come and done an interview with me the other day. They edited it to fuck, to be honest.
I saw it, mate. Is that the one you were actually you've been quite respectful and stuff? I thought you were actually quite candid in that interview. It was only on for about a minute or something.
I was respectful to him, but I did say, what I said was, to what they cut out, in my opinion, he sidelined this fight for a Klitschko fight.
And they didn't show it.
I said, that's the motives, in my opinion, what's happened. And then I said, but good luck to him, and XYZ, they showed that bit.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But they cut everything else out.
Peter, you mentioned the money there, potentially, that David Haye could have made from the Tyson Fury fight. I mean, understanding the Klitschkos and how they do business and stuff, David Haye's got nothing to trade with them, so how can he go to them and ask for like a £5 million payday or a $5 million payday when he's got jack shit to actually even negotiate with? And, at the end of the day, the fight makes sense because there's Vitaly Klitschko being banned by a presidential order in Ukraine that he cannot run for presidency because he isn't classed no longer as a Ukrainian citizen.
Yeah. I think with David A, you've only got to look at Tyson's a big threat. And although it might be a $3 or $5 million payday, it would be his last. It potentially could be his last. You never know what's going to happen until they get in the ring. So, looking at that and thinking, well, if a fight has been offered with Vitaly, he's a WBC world champion, he's fighting for a world title, it means something. And forget the payday he'd be getting off Vitali. What if he win? What if he won?
Yeah.
And, you know, David Haye would always be thinking, I have every chance of beating Vitali. He's slowed up. He's an old man. You know, this is my time. So when you look at all of that, why take Tyson Fury? He was only taking Tyson because the offer was not on the table. So he was going back to the drawing board, building himself back up. But all of a sudden, since he's agreed with Tyson, another offer's come around the corner. Who wants Tyson? So he's come up with his cobblers, yeah, and he's biding his time. I fully expect him to be out next year, May, June, anyway.
I think, you know, this resembles, if you look at it, the Amir Khan situation where he was supposed to be fighting Devon Alexander in December, well, in a couple of weeks, but he's pulled out of that fight, as the rumours are going, as many suspect he's been offered the Floyd Mayweather fight. You know, but instead of Khan, you know, breaking a shoulder or cutting himself, he's just pulled out of that fight and I think, you know, if David, like you said earlier, if David had done that, maybe, you know, it would have been a lot better, but he seems to be, you know, keeping people, you know, on a false thing, you know, and wasting people's time.
Thing, I think because they've got away with it before, and they can just pull out of contracts with pretending they've got an injury, you know, they're doing it this way. Well, if they'd have come to us and just said, you know, look, Peter, Mick, we've been offered Vitaly Klitschko, and when we took your fight, Vitaly never offered it us. So is there any way around this where let's fight Vitaly, you know, if we win, we'll give you the chance of that, or we'll give you a few quid, and do things honourably, discuss it. And, you know, we're not going to say, no, we're holding you to that contract, because if a man doesn't want to get in the ring, he doesn't want to get in the ring. So basically, you'd come to some kind of an agreement, a gentleman's agreement with it. But to go the way they go is another matter entirely. You know, to me, it is embarrassing. It's pathetic the way people stoop to get out of things, you know, to make them look good in the public's eyes.
I mean, the best thing, and it's just another coincidence that, you know, it's only been in the last week that Vitaly Klitschko has said that he's looking at a February-March fight as well. I mean, whether he's going to take someone on and then, you know, fight again at the end of the year, maybe that could be where Haye steps in. You don't know, but, you know, after all this, you know, palaver from Haye, really, I don't want to see him in a world title fight, to be honest, because I don't think what he's done is right, to be honest. No, he's you know, the bullshit he's pulled. I mean, when he stepped up from cruiserweight, as you said, he was a great cruiserweight, and he had a lot of fans and, you know, a lot of excitement, but I think that's declined, and I think if he comes back and takes a Klitschko fight, I think a lot of whoever's left of his fans will desert him, because I've seen it on the forums there, a lot of people are really angry with the way he's acted.
Well, I think, you know, they're probably looking at it, you know, we can swing this round, because if we get a world title shot and he beats Vitaly, all's forgiven, you know, and maybe they're right, I don't know.
Swing like nuts again.
Well, you know, it's whatever they want to do, but to be honest, you know, let them do what they do. Like I said, personally, I've got nothing against the fella, but, you know, I would never do business with that camp again. I know they got David Price, and, you know, if David Price comes up, could he fight Tyson? I can give you the answer right now. If 10 million was on the table, that'll never happen. I said to Frank Maloney when he had Price, because he started slating us on the telly saying, you know, you got no bottle, you're a shithouse, and all this. I sent a message to him and I said, here, you know them comments? He'll never get to fight Tyson, ever again. And I stood on to it there. And anything to do with that camp, we want nothing to do with. It's not about the money with me anyway. I don't give a shit.
Just on the topic of David Haye again there, Peter, I mean, you just talked, I mean, we've discussed at the start of the conversation way back there, you know, it was like 7 pullouts David Haye's had through his career. I went to the Vlad fight in Hamburg, and you know, for 3 to 4 weeks that I waited to go there, I was expecting them to pull out, and you know, it pissed the rain the whole day, and you know, Skylight to tell us that it was a 50,000 sellout. Bullshit. There was like 30,000, 35,000 there. I spoke to some Germans on the way up the stadium and stuff like that. One person actually told me, says, oh, I waited to see if the fight would actually go ahead, and he only bought a ticket 2 hours before the main event started. I think that tells its own story, and people still want to swallow David Hale's bollocks. I don't understand it. I mean, I would never go to another Haye fight. And I did say I would go to the Vitaly fight if it happened, but no after this latest.
I think going back to the Vladimir fight, I thought he'd done okay, to be honest. You know, Vladimir was just too good for him, and when he felt Vladimir's power, you know, he just went into survival mode. You know, and David Haye was glad to just make the end of it. He tried his best. You know, he tried that hard. He run past Vladimir and then he went into the ring post. You know, so with his head down. So he done all he could, David A, but it wasn't enough. But again, you know, take the boxing out of the equation. What did he do after it? He thought he needed to make an excuse. So, and he made himself look very, very small. You don't represent British boxing like that, do you? Because here's the Klitschko's, like gentlemen, yeah? Is, you know, going in there will cut heads on T-shirts. Shows the mentality, you know, it's not good, you know, the way they carry on. So, the ethics behind outside of the boxing is terrible. But for what he's achieved in the ring, you've got to say he's done his best and he's done well.
Did you hear about the new book he's bringing out, Peter?
Go on.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes.
God almighty, it wouldn't surprise me.
I think with that fight as well, like you said, I mean, he did alright, he did the best he could, but I think what made it worse was he had 3 years of trash talk. He trashed every other opponent that he called them fat bums, useless, you know, these guys can't do nothing. And then he went in there and you know, he didn't do much better than quite a few guys. And then at least, you know, they took their loss and that's it. But he blamed it on his little toe. I mean, I've never heard that excuse ever before. And it's just, after all your talk, you know, you've really got to, you got to back it up basically, or you're gonna, you know, you'd be shut down.
I think worse than the toe, I think worse than any episode is the way he's been carrying on with this here on 2 occasions. You know, so it doesn't get any worse. They don't stoop any lower than where they stoop now. You know, and it's finished now. There's no point being bitter about it. It's done. But we know what they've done, and anybody with half a brain knows what they've done. So let them carry on with it. You know, you know, he ain't good for boxing. Christ Almighty, he's representing Great Britain. As well, it's a disaster.
But I think when you offered the contract about, you know, you can't pull out to fight anyone else and they refused to sign it, I think that tells you the whole story right there, doesn't it?
Well, we was all in the office, and I said to the lawyer, I was having a laugh with it. I said, put that in there. I said, and watch what'll happen. I said, sign that. I said, and put that clause in there. I said, and watch them not agree to that. I said, and put them few clauses in. I said, and when they renege on all of them, you know the fight's not happening. I said, and when they renege on all of them, sign it anyway. I said, because then we'll see them squirming public to get out of it. And, you know, they've just been played, really, like a puppet on a string, because I knew what they was doing. I put the clauses in, because, and even when they didn't agree to it, I said, agree to it anyway. Push him in a corner. They're not taking this fight regardless. So, we agreed it anyway, because they had to re-sign it. So, and look, we even foretold the date they'd be doing it. Because we've got inside information with them anyway. You know, they're not as clever as they think they are. And they ain't got that many close friends as they think they've got as well, because people tell them. So, it's like what it is. You know, it's obvious. But they don't give a shit that we know or not. They're only interested in gimmicking the public on the telly with some false padding on his shoulder or whatever.
I think that was the darn thing that surprised me. It wasn't that he got injured or, you know, pulled out. I think it was the fact that it happened now. I was expecting it to happen, you know, a few weeks before the rescheduled fight where, you know, Tyson has gone through training and wasted time, and then it would happen like it did for the first fight.
Look, they've been over Germany, they've sat down with whoever they've sat down with, we've all got connections, you know, if I want a bent doctor, I can put a phone call in and get one out of Manchester, I can get one in Germany tomorrow. I'll say, right, get me a bent doctor, there's £5 on the table, I'll have one in 24 hours. They must think I'm an idiot, they must think we're all pissed, you know, what goes on. You know, but at the end of the day, they've done it and let them carry on. But they haven't got away with it, because people like me don't give a shit, I'll say it as it is. They're not genuine. It's all false, all of it. So, let them get on with it. Good luck to them.
It's just a shame that, you know, like you said, you know, the journalists and, you know, the media and stuff, they seem to be letting him off the hook time and time again, don't they? That's the problem, because maybe they're, you know, when the Vitali fight comes up, they can, you know, be up his arse again, I suppose.
Well, that's it, you know, we're trying to get this Wilder on Sky. And, you know, you never know that it could overshadow David A with a Vitali fight. You know, pay-per-view that, maybe they don't want to pay-per-view Wilder and Tyson because there's something in the pipeline with Haye. Who knows with this? Who knows? You know, there's a lot of rumours going around. Let's put it this way: you could write a book on conspiracy theories around that lot.
Just a question on, you know, if you fought Wilder and if it was to be on Sky, does it have to go through Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, because he seems to have all the dates now, doesn't he?
Excuse me. Well, it's got nothing to do with Eddie Hearn. Our business has got nothing to do with him. And when we signed the last fight with Adam Bouvet, Maker Promotions, it had nothing to do with Eddie Hearn then. So yeah, he's got all the Sky dates. I'm not sure about the pay-per-view, but you're absolutely right. So we've not approached Eddie Hearn, and he's not approached us. So I don't know what he's got to do with anything.
Yeah, hopefully he hasn't. And that fight, I mean, that would be a great fight, like you said. I mean, two giant men, going at it, both unbeaten. So I'm sure that would do just as well, to be honest, because I think everyone would like to see, Deontay Wilder not only tested, but in a big test.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, like I said, Wilder has got an outstanding punch, but there's a lot of flaws there. So it'd be interesting to see when he steps up how he's going to deal with it. And, we've seen it time and time again. You might look powerful, you might have 30 knockouts, but it's who you've knocked out. Because when you step up with a quality opponent, the power's never the same.
I think we'll have to let you go now, Pete. We've kept you on for quite a while now tonight.
About an hour and a half I've had you on, Peter.
You've been like a regular member of our podcast, the way you've talked.
Yeah, no problem. It's enjoyable. You talk about the boxing. I'm sat here in my armchair, and there's nothing else to do anyway. I'm looking at the telly.
Do you actually listen to your podcast, Peter, no?
Sometimes I do, but I don't like hearing my own voice for some reason.
It is kind of weird, because I've got a thick Scottish accent, I didn't usually hear myself, but, you get used to it after a while, like.
Yeah, I just say it as it is, because probably when it plays back, I think, I shouldn't have said this, shouldn't have said that, but I don't really give a shit, to be honest.
No, I mean, listen, I get a lot of haters because I shit on Sky. I mean, I basically call it as I see it as well, and I get a lot of haters for it, so basically, I wouldn't give a fuck either,
No, listen, I'm my own man, I pay my own bills, and I wouldn't give a shit if I offended or, I say it as it is. You can only say what you believe. And, I'm a fair and square person. I do my business properly. And, a fight's a fight. When you agree something, stand onto it. That's it. No problem. Have an handshake, stand onto it. The old values are gone, aren't they? It's all about
me.
Yeah, exactly. Selfishness. That's all it is. There's no consideration for other people in the sport. And it's sad. Very sad the way it's going on. But everybody seems to be up everybody's ass because they're a celebrity, and this is what happens. Anyway, it's just a shame we couldn't get that fight, I tell you that, because Tyson would have done a number on him, I can assure you.
We would have liked to see it.
And Tyson, he's got something very, very special when you see him fight again. People's in for a big, big shock.
Good to see.
Well, we look forward to it, and, hopefully we can speak to you again just before Tyson's getting ready for his next fight.
Anytime at all you can speak to me, I'm always available for boxing. And it's a pleasure, and thanks for having me on your show.
Thanks a lot, Peter.
Thanks a lot again,
really
Peter.
Appreciate it again.
Have a nice Christmas, lads, and God bless
You too, mate.
You too, and the family.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Bye.